Hey everybody, welcome back to Audi C7 owners. On today's episode, I'm going to show you how to remove your OEM rear bumper. The reason I'm replacing mine is because I got rear-ended a few months ago, so I got to use one that's already painted, ready to go, and today's a great time to film a video showing you how to do this. So if this is something that you've ever wanted to learn how to do, stick around. The first step to this process is to lift the rear of the car up. If you put it on jack stands, which takes a little bit longer, it's a little bit easier in the long run to access what we need to, but I just backed it up on a ramp and then lifted this side up because all you need is this wheel gap to be able to access the three T25 screws that hold your fender liner onto your rear bumper. So we're going to remove those three on each side and then move on to the next step. After you've gotten your three T25s removed from each side of your fender wells or wheel wells, you want to come underneath and you have to remove three screws from the bottom where your diffuser mounts into the bottom of your car. Those should also be T25s as well. But there's just three in the center. They'll be very obvious to you once you get underneath. Now that we've got it unscrewed, we're going to be pulling the bumper off of the actual car. Now let me show you something on the replacement bumper I've got here. If you see here, you've got these holes on the side, and that's what we're trying to remove from the side of the car right now. So underneath there are going to be some like teeth that go in here. So the best way to do this is to pull forward and pull upwards and out. And it should start to come apart. Now if you've never done this before on your bumper, it could be extremely difficult and you might have to apply a good bit of force. So just work slow and steady at it. Unfortunately, as you can see back here, there's not really room to get underneath and get a pry tool to that. But with years of dirt and debris, it could get stuck in there. So if you have a plastic trim tool that you want to try and get in there and jam in to depress these tabs, that might help. Just be really careful that you don't scratch any of your paint. All right. To access the top bolt of your bumper and some other tabs, you need to remove this outer tail light on each side. So first you need to remove this cover. Now you can use a trim piece or a trim tool remover to get it in here, but mine have broken, so mine just kind of rests in here. But yeah, you don't want to force it out or else you'll do what I did on this side and break them. But yeah, you can see where they enter into the tail lamp there and there. So just be cautious with that. And then these two screws are T25s. Now, if you start to back one of these out and they fall behind the bumper, don't worry, it should go straight through into the ground. If not, if it gets caught in the bumper, you'll be able to find the screws once you get the whole thing removed. Once again, if I didn't say it, these are T25s. See, I just dropped one, you could hear it hit the ground. Once you've unbolted your taillight, you can pull it out to access your wiring harness. And you need to undo this. Now granted, you could just, if you really want to, take this and set it up here and just set it out of the way. But it's not really secure there and I don't want to scratch my paint. So I'm going to remove it completely. To undo a Volkswagen Audi wiring harness plug here, if you're not really familiar, you can stick something in here and lift up the tabs, but you can also just press the plugs together to relieve tension. Then you press down here and they'll unplug. After you've got your tail light removed, we just have one more screw on each side right here, another T25. Then we have this thing here, and I'll show you what this is, and you got these tabs. So let's remove the T25. After that, you want to use a trim tool remover or trim tool, trim remover tool to kind of pop this up. Once you get that up, it literally just pulls out and it's this really weird looking kind of pin. Set that aside somewhere safe. And then, let me move the camera around a little bit. Once you're here, if you look down into this, you can see there's a little tab right here. And you want to pop that tab out like this. And then that thing comes apart, and that's just one more piece holding this bumper on. So we got that done. And then now we'll come back over here. We need to start to move these little three teeth out. Now this piece here, just be really careful because this piece can get really brittle. And so we want to be sure not to break it. It's kind of a tricky little thing to do here. All right, we're gonna try a different trim tool to get in here, something a little bit more sturdy. get it wedged in there, and then pull the bumper back, and it'll pull those teeth out. So get it there, pull the bumper back, keep pressure on the bumper coming backwards. And now that is completely detached from this part of the car. This is like a little carrier piece. And we're gonna do that to the other side, and it's almost time to remove the bumper from the vehicle. The last part of getting this removed from the actual car is detaching it from where it mounts underneath this trunk weather seal. So one thing I do is I just take this trim tool piece and I kind of run it back here as I just pull off the car, and you can see there are these teeth here. Now the first time I ever did this, it was a lot more difficult than that. Once you do this once, it becomes a little easier, but just get a nice sturdy trim tool piece in here and just be gentle not to damage things, and you can pop these teeth out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. I can count good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. And if you just get this trim piece in here and pry it back, it should come off relatively easily. Now, be careful once you get it removed, because you have a wiring harness coming from your car that connects to your sensors in the back here. So that's connected here, and I'll show you how to remove that. All right, so this is the wiring harness connected to the back of your bumper. Mine has locking tabs, so they are kind of old, a little bit brittle, so I'm gonna use a pick to make sure I get these removed without breaking them. You wanna just back that gray tab out a little bit, and then once you get that backed out, you use it as a push tab. You push it down. Make sure I got it all the way first. These might be a little stuck on as well, just from being back here for a long time. Once you get removed, press it, and then it comes off. Now, some people might have another wiring harness on the back of their diffuser if you have the kick to open feature for your trunk, but my car doesn't have that. But unfortunately, there is not a way to completely just disconnect the wiring harness from the car easily. As you can see, it goes all the way up and connects in there. It'd be nice if there's just one connection. You can remove the bumper with the whole harness off, but unfortunately you can't. So once you get that completely removed all the way down the bumper, then it is completely disconnected from the car. All right, so that's how you remove your rear bumper on your C7. There might be a couple small variances between facelift cars and non-facelift cars, but this should be fairly exactly the same between all models. But everything goes back on in reverse order just as you removed it. Nothing special about that. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. And remember, if you guys are looking for a DIY on how to remove just your rear lower diffuser, we've got one of those as well. Hopefully here in the cards, or I'll have the link for the description, or I have the link for it in the description below. As always, guys, like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and we'll see you on the next video.